Hello, I wanted to help you use your oil pastels to get a nice impressionism feel. We're going to use lots of color like you see in this Monet print. Lots of greens, not just one area with just green. Lots of color. The sky can be smooth, but the land and the water, that should all have little short dabs of color. Let me show you how to do that. So this is a nice colored picture that you want to work from. You're going to try and turn this black and white one to look like that colored one that you saw with Monet. So you want to make sure you use lots of color. Now for the sky, you can keep things very smooth. If you want to just kind of color in a lot of the sky, use the oil pastel thickly. We're getting a painted, like an oil paint effect from this instead of using oil paint. We'll use oil pastel. And you probably won't use a lot of white, but for the sky, you probably will use some. Make sure you look back at the picture. Are the clouds white? Is there a hint of color in them other than white? So keep referring to the picture that you're working from as if you were looking at it in real nature. And then for the trees, there's a lot of green there. So I'm just going to kind of lightly, I'm not going to press this firmly because I want room for other colors on here. I'm going to lightly kind of color them in just a regular green and then start looking at the picture. You definitely, for your final draft, work from a picture. Really, you should go outside and work from nature. But this will be close if we can work from a picture. And then you want to put little short dabs of color on there. I'm getting some dark green in there. I'm moving a little closer for you to see. Getting some dark green in there now to get the shadows. So I noticed in that picture that there were a lot of shadows on the left side of the trees. You want to do lots of little short dabs of color. Thickly apply that oil pastel. Really, I see a lot of blue there too. Remember Monet and other impressionists, they used a lot of blue for their shadows and violets, and it kind of brings it to life instead of just using one color and not just using black too. So some blues in there, put some in there too. And you don't want to be neat and organized with your little short dabs of color. Make it look natural, like those are leaves, like your little dabs of color are leaves. I'm putting some yellow on there now to show the sunlight shining on this tree. And I can even get my other greens in this too. I have like a yellow green. Utilize lots of colors. You have 25 colors in this oil pastel set. Use a lot of them, maybe use them all. So thickly apply them on there. Now I'm starting to get these little crumbs. You can see them kind of moving around. Watch out for those crumbs. If they get on the floor or on your desk, they can make a big smeary mess. So contain your crumbs on your paper, and then at the end, you can always empty the crumbs into the trash. Okay, now for the grass, it wasn't a lot of green actually. If I go back to the picture, there's a lot of oranges and yellows and purples. So I'm going to do that by starting with a lot of oranges. And I can even kind of color in. Just kind of get a base color on there. Now don't cover up that woman there. There's a woman standing in the field. Probably Monet's wife, Camille. His first wife. We saw her in the movie we watched. And I'm going to get some other kinds of oranges and start putting some dabs of color on there. Press firmly. Be generous with your oil pastel. Don't be too gentle. You want it to firmly get on there. I'm going to get some greens in there too. And now I'm mostly doing my dabs kind of up and down because that goes good for grass. Grass kind of has that up and down little lines. Make sure you're not doing little tiny dots where you get pointillism. You want to do little tiny dots. So first of all, it will take you forever. And this is not pointillism. This is impressionism. Get some purples in here. Looking at the picture to see where some of those purple wildflowers were growing. And then you want to cover your whole paper with oil pastel. But hopefully that gives you an idea on what you want to do when you're using the oil pastels. Lots of color. Think about the light. What direction is the light shining on your nature picture? And where are the shadows? And don't forget to include that background, middle ground, and foreground. And you probably want to work in that order. Background first, middle ground, and then foreground. Right? Have fun.